Here's a quick update on the development status of the Neuro-Evolution project. As documented in a previous video, I've been working on the crossover operator. And even though it looked promising if applied to the genotype, I ran into problems after conversion to its phenotype representation. To this point, I'm not exactly sure what caused the issues. I did find a few bugs, but nothing too catastrophic, so it might even be a design flaw, who knows. The bottom line is, debugging a neural network isn't very fun. It's like looking at a bowl of cyber spaghetti for hours. I mean, look at it. Eventually, I came to the conclusion that perhaps the problem was a psychological one, in the form of false expectations. So let me explain my train of thoughts. The first version of the genotype Mutator, that's the piece of code that builds the structure on the left, would actually create truly random structures. From that, I would create phenotypes. From that, I would create a Neuro-Image for visualization. And I was expecting beautiful wavy lines and shapes of organic structure and all sorts of random shit. Turns out, what random actually means is a gray blob of little to no activity, or maybe a vague gradient if you're lucky. Why is that? I have no idea. I suspect it's because the weights and topology are more or less symmetrical, so the features cancel each other out on average. Remember that I'm talking about untrained networks here, so I guess the results may not even be that surprising. Even so, from a development perspective, it's debugging hell once again. So to make my life easier, I did this. Instead of using a random mutator like I did before, I designed one that generates a very particular type of genotype. One that produces pure feed-forward multi-layered networks. The randomness is now limited to number of layers, nodes per layer, and weights. So when the phenotype is generated, that's the thing in the middle by the way, I know exactly what's going on. Now you might be saying the network looks nothing like a layered network, but that is because the component that's responsible for painting the whole thing doesn't know that it's supposed to be one, so it just uses the default node placing routine. In this demonstration, every couple of seconds or so, a new genotype is generated with a random number of layers and nodes. From that, the phenotype and the Neuro-Image are constructed. You also might have noticed that once again I'm using a different activation function. So these images look softer than the previous ones. Hopefully, with this new type of mutator, I will be able to achieve a better performance with the crossover operation. But that is something for the next weekend.